Welcome, this is a beginner's Meistertask tutorial. Now, if you would like to work with your team, Meistertask is probably a really good solution. Now, I'm going to walk you through the whole application so you know how you can use this to work with your team. Now, in the dashboard, you can see on the left there are a few things in the menu. Then in the middle there's this picture with your current time as well as a quote. And on the right you can see your tasks. And usually when you visit your dashboard for the first time, you can also see notifications, but you can hide them by clicking on this bell, and you can also hide your task by clicking on this check mark. If this is not a look that you like, you can obviously customize your dashboard, so you could remove the quote that is at the bottom here, but in this case I will leave it since this is really nice. And then you can also change the background color to something you like, or you can choose a random image. Now, if you like the image, you can leave it as that, and then let's get started creating a project. So you can create a project by clicking on this plus and then creating a new project. You could also import a new project if you've been working in Trello or Asana, but in this case we will create a new one. And so we will name this marketing campaign. And in this case it will be a team project. You could also create a private project, so this means you'll be the only member of that project basically. And if you create a team project, you can also add other members to it, but we will get to that later. So you can also add a description. In this case I don't want to add any description to that, and we will create that project. So you can see there are 3 columns by default, and so you could also add a section to that. But what are these columns? So you can see they're pretty self-explanatory. In this case we can create a new task by clicking on this plus, naming it task #1 for example. This could also be working out idea #1. And so this is basically a task for your team. And so if the team member has done that task, they can move it to progress for example, and if they have finished that task, they can move it to done. And so this is the basic idea of Meistertask. Then you can also add sections, so in this case we would like to do in review, and so you can customize this to your liking as well. So you can click on that icon, and then you can select a different icon, and you can also select a different color. If you would like to rename those columns, you can just click into that and rename it to whatever you want. As to my knowledge, there is no limit to how many sections you can add, but in this case this is enough. So here you can already invite members, so you could enter in their emails and they will get an email saying that you have invited them. In this case we don't have anyone to invite, so we will just leave this empty and cancel that action. Now you have one task on the left here. If you click on that task, this pop-up should pop up, and then you can also change the name here. And on the right you can also add a due date, so we want this to be due at the 22nd of March, and then you can also remove the due date here. And so you can also add tags to that, so you would need to create tags. Since we haven't created any, we would need to click on manage and then create tags. So we could create a tag for every member in our team for example, or create a tag about a specific topic or specific tasks. So in this case we could name it after our team members, so we can make a tag member #1, so we can know the first member of the team has probably been working on this task if they add the tag to that. And so you can assign tags to the task, and on the left you can also add a description. This will probably be needed if you want to explain it further. And then you can also add checklist items, so if you want your team member to follow a specific scheme, then you could for example make a checklist like work out the idea, and then you could add more stuff onto that. And so you can also add attachment to that if the team member will need anything for that task, or in order to complete that task you can upload images or any types of files here. Now the activity is basically like a comment section, so you could for example ask how is the task going basically, and so you could ask that in the comments basically, and the guy that is working on that task or the team member that is working on the task can reply, and so you will know how the progress has been going. And so in the top left you can also assign this task to someone. In this case we don't have anyone in our team, but ourselves, so we could assign ourselves to that task. And in the top right you have the 3 dots, and here you can do all sorts of stuff. You can duplicate, repeat, or complete a task, or mark it as complete. And so there are multiple things you can do with that, but these are the most important ones when it comes to creating tasks. Now we will close that task pop-up, and if someone has been working on an idea and it's done or it's in review, you could actually click on that, click on the 3 dots and mark it as complete. In this case, if we close that, you can see the task has been marked as completed. As we already know, every task has this activity feed, but what you can also do is to view the whole activity feed of the whole project. So if you click on the right on this icon, you can see the whole activity of the whole project basically. So this would be like a group chat basically. And lastly, you can also customize your project. So if you click on the top, you can see there is the project, and if you click on project settings, you can change the name, you can add the description, and right here you can also manage all the tags, manage all the checklists. And so this is like the overview over the whole project. If you click on the icon of that project, you can change the icon and the color of the project as well. And you could also upload an image that would show right here. And so this is everything you need to know to work with your team and start getting productive. If this video was helpful, make sure to like the video, and I will see you in the next one.